Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Girl Dream Again, the podcast. First, let me say happy Father's Day to all of the fathers, wherever you are, you're watching the podcast. I pray that your day has been absolutely amazing. You've gotten the rest and the rewards that you so deserve. So tonight we are here in honor of Father's Day, and I'm really excited about this episode because I have my friend and my brother with me, and we're going to dive into some dialect tonight that's probably going to be real good, and it's going to blow your mind. He's got a very transparent testimony about his life, some things that he has suffered, some triumphs, and some other things that he's going through. And so tonight he's here to give it to us in his own words, right? So I want you, without any further ado, to help me welcome my friend and my brother, the Honorable Pastor Ardel Jones, pastor of the All People International Church.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me here. It's just an honor and a privilege to be here with you tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I am so humbled to have you here with us tonight.
I'm nervous, though. I don't know what we're talking about.
We just had a conversation, and then you did it on camera. I can assure you.
I know.
It's not a setup.
No,
it's not a setup.
I am so excited to be here.
Thank you so much.
This is an honor. It really
yes, sir.
Is.
Thank
it's
you.
An honor.
Thank you. It is an honor. Thank you for saying yes. I was and this is the absolute truth. When I started to think about our Father's Day podcast, I don't know why, but you were the first one that came to mind.
Wow.
And one of the things I knew that we needed to focus on was transparency with Black men and fatherhood, right?
Yes.
And so I don't know that people really know your story other than a few snippets on social media because you've been extremely transparent about what life has been for you. Absolutely. And so if I had to ask for, you're a preacher. So I know you're long-winded. We're
going there. Okay.
But if I had to ask for a snippet of Ardel Jones, what would you say to me?
Wow, a snippet of Ardel Jones. Blessed.
That's good.
Blessed. I'm blessed. So I was talking to someone the other day, and I went through a whole lot in my life. The devil told me that I had lost my future, being my church and my family.
Wow.
So I used to post all the time, F and F, because I was fighting for my future and I was fighting for my family.
Wow.
And I am a testament.
I remember that hashtag.
I'm a testament that God can give you a new family and a new future.
Wow.
And that's my whole life. God has given me family, and He's given me future.
Oh man!
And I'm excited about that. Through everything I had to go through in life.
Oh man!
And then what's crazy about it, when I look at my life now and what God is doing, I am willing to go through all that all over again,
just to get to where you are now.
Just to get to where I am now. If I know it's going to get me back to this good place, I'm willing to go through it again.
I don't know that I've ever heard anybody make that declaration. You do it all over again.
I do it over again.
If you knew, the end result would be what it is today.
I'm a preacher. I'm a pastor. I smell like sheep. I'm a real pastor. I don't do it for the fame, for the glory, for the money, for whatever. I do it to bless God's people.
Yes.
And I understand as a pastor, the Bible says we have a high priest who's gone through the very infirmities we've gone through. So I understand that everything I went through in my life, it was God teaching me how to help other people through
My
it.
goodness.
So if I have to go through all that again just to help somebody else, I'm willing to do it.
Wow.
I'm willing to do it.
That is good. That is good. Do you know how many people regret the road? There are so many people that live that's good. We'll get back to that. Here is where I want to start. Son of Bishop Arthur T. Jones Sr.
The Honorable Chief Apostle
Chief Apostle.
Yes.
Listen, I say this to people all the time. When your dad transitioned, I posted something on my social media site, and I said, and this is from the depth of my heart, I was born and reared into a family of pastors and preachers. And I know what good pastors, preachers look like. Your dad was one of very few men that I consider one of the most integral men that I've ever met in my entire life. Entire life. And I'm almost 50 years old. That is something to be said, especially coming from, again, a lineage of pastors and preachers and teachers, right? Tell me a little bit what it was like, what it is like, the memories when we talk about Bishop Senior. What is it like to be the baby boy?
It's crazy. I mean, it's honestly crazy, but he was the best father in the world. And I'm not just saying that as just something to say. He proved that to me, to my brother and to my sister and to thousands of other people that he fathered. And what was so amazing about my father was that even though as a pastor and he fathered so many other people, he never forsake us.
Wow.
So he was a father all the time. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm now like you. I'm close to 50.
Right.
We ain't gonna share here. We're gonna say we're close to 50.
That's right.
And to the day he passed away, he fathered me.
Wow.
He fathered me to the day he passed away.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about he was a pastor, Church of God in Christ, Pentecostal. Friday night we have church service.
Yeah.
He has church service. He never missed a football game, never missed a basketball game, never missed whatever sport I played, whatever activity he never missed it. So I played football for Rains High School. I think he's the only person never paid to come inside any game. When they saw him come, they opened the gate, the side gate, and let him in. Church started at 7:30. Football game started at 7:00. If he was preaching, he would come to the game. He would stay about halftime. I look up in the stands. I see him. It was easy to spot because my father, since the day he became a bishop, he wore that collar. I mean, I'm like every single day he had that collar on. He had the collar on, and he was up there and he was present. So regardless, I know a lot of PKs that have so much animosity, so much pain and suffering from they said the church took their father. No, the church never. All people didn't take my father.
Wow,
he was still present in all of our lives, and what that did, it made me not hate the church. So it made me fall in love with the church early on. Where a lot of my contemporaries hate the church because they feel the church took their father. It never took mine.
Wow.
So I never hated the church. I actually fell in love with it because he taught that love.
Example. Absolutely right. Wow, that's good. And so in the spirit of fatherhood, the lessons that you learned from him, adolescent, growing up, following in his footsteps, if you will, into ministry, and your pastoral role. How then did it shape you for fatherhood?
It made me understand that regardless of what God has called you to do, the first thing he called you to is your family. So before you preach, before you pastor, before you do anything else, make sure home is taken care of.
Yes.
And in being the father, I mean, my father was the first person when my wife she was pregnant with our first daughter Aja. My father was the first person I called, and because I was so nervous, I was so scared, and he was like, "You got this." He said, "You got this," and I knew I had it because all I was going to do was mimic what he did.
Yeah.
But everything he did in raising us, I was going to do those same things.
Yes.
And it made being a father seem so effortless and so easy.
Yes.
Like he just woke up every morning and just knew exactly what to do.
Yes.
Exactly what to say. Now he was a disciplinarian. Now I got beat. I mean, I got beat one time like the police was beating me. I mean, he made me. It was third. I never forget. It was third grade. I got a E in citizenship. This was before they had L's. I had an E in citizenship, and the teacher had the audacity to put it in red ink. So all the other letters was black, but this E. And he like, did you incite a riot? Did you cuss the teacher out? I'm like, no, sir, I ain't do nothing. This man told me to stand on the wall and put my hands on the wall like he was getting ready to frisk me.
Oh, man.
And this man beat me
on
that wall, told me not to move. And he walked out the room. Now I'm nervous as all get up, and I'm trying to peep around and this man, I looked down the hall, he is on the sofa reading the newspaper. I'm like, dude, did he forget? I'm on the wall? And he came back and beat me some more. Needs to say I ain't never in my life get another E since that man beat the brakes off me. But even in beating me, it was done in love.
Wait. You looked down the hall and he was doing what?
You laughing too hard. I looked down. I'll tell you no lie. I looked down. It was like one of those 8 houses where the den is in the back and you can look straight to the halls of the living room. I look. He is on us. I don't know if he was trying to calm himself down, but he was reading newspaper. He came back and beat me again, and I even tried to go to bed early that night. He came and got me out the bed. He didn't forget. He got me out the bed. Yes, ma'am. He beat me that day. But even in discipline, he showed honor and he was a great father. So, you know, as adults, especially as parents, sometimes we get stuff wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times we get stuff wrong. My father was the type of man, if he did it wrong, he would come and apologize to you.
Wow.
Hey, son, you know, I beat you for this.
Yes.
Dad, sorry. I found out you didn't do that.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Yes.
And a lot of parents will do that. You know, you got some parents say, you know what? I'm beating you for something I didn't know about.
Yes.
Well, if you didn't know about it, you can't beat me for it, God, dog.
That's right. Don't punish me.
Yeah. But he was that type of father. And it made me want to be a father like him. Where he, even in fathering other people, like we grew up in a home where church young men were in our home. And they took to him because he was that great example of what a true father is.
Wow. That's good. Now, let me ask you this because, again, from a lineage of pastors and preachers, one of the things that I most tell people is that we have the bittersweet eye to see both in front of and behind the veil, right? So I get to see the forefront. I get to see what it looks. I see the fun that the rest of the congregation doesn't see. I get to see the human moments, and I have seen that, right? And so we get to see it from a view that's really multi-layered, right? And so when we talk about humanity, when we talk about behind the veil, and a man of integrity that your father was, what would you say you learned? How did you learn to handle moments of humanity? Moments where you were the pastor, you are the pastor. Oh, but you just at a moment where you want to snap. You just at a moment where, you know, I'm tired of hearing it, you know, and I'm about to explode. What did you learn from your dad about how to restrain yourself in human moments?
My father taught me something that I still use today. He said, always remember who you are. Regardless of the situation, regardless of what happened, always remember who you are, and always remember, son, that someone's watching. He said these words. He said, it takes a second to tear down.
Yes.
What it took a lifetime
that
to
is
build
true.
up.
Yes.
He said, doesn't matter how good you do, son, people always remember the worst times.
Yes.
He said, so try your best not to have those moments.
Yes.
And he taught me to walk away. He taught me to walk away. He taught me to be silent. My father, and I throw this out there, my father is probably the only person that could calm me down when I got to a certain level. So he knew that. So and most people around me knew that. So there have been times on the phone where
they had to call him.
They'll call him, and he'll get the phone. He said, "Hey, son," and that's all he'll say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Dad,
they bring you back."
He like, it's okay. I never forget this. I never forget. I was going through a moment when I was dating my wife, Sharonda. I was going through a moment, and I moved back in. I'm a grown man. I moved back into my parents' house. That's a whole other story, though. and I was having a rough day. I came in the house, and I must have been fired up. I must have been fired up. He looks at me. He says, "Where's Sharonda?" And I'm like, I don't know, because we dated long distance, so we dated through iPhone, through FaceTime. And he says, "Where's Sharonda?" I said, "I don't know, Dad." And I was just going off. He says, "Go call Sharonda." I'm like,
wow.
so I'm trying to talk to him. He's like, "Go call Sharonda." I'm like, no. He's like, "Go call Sharonda." And I called her on the phone, and I'm fired up. And she answers, like, "Hey." And when she answers the phone, my whole conscience,
there was a stillness,
just changed. And I went back in there with him, and he said, "You talk Sharonda?" I said, "Yes." So he said, "Okay." He said, "For now on, she'll be your peace."
Wow.
When you have those moments, just talk to her, and she'll calm your spirit.
Wow.
And since that time, he knew it. He was a prophet. He's calmed my spirit. It was almost like he was transferring what he had done for me for years in calming my spirit. He knew that God had put that inside of her. Yes. And he said, whenever you have these moments, son, just talk to her. It'll calm your spirit.
That's beautiful.
And I'm like, man. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so from then until now.
She
has been calm to the storm.
She has been that calm.
Wow.
So now when people call him, they're not calling him, "Your son going off on something."
Just to call your wife.
No, but it's and that peace, and as I've matured now, and just talking, I try to live my life as I saw him living.
That's right.
I had a conversation with my church on Sunday. I like shorts. I think I have pretty legs.
No.
So I mean, they skinny, but I think they pretty. So I like to wear shorts. But I was getting dressed for a church event. And I felt convicted in my spirit.
Wow.
I'm like, no, this is not happening. This is not happening.
I like shorts.
But I like shorts. But I'll never forget, my father said we were at Go Ahead Lake. I don't know if y'all remember that lake
man,
over
yeah.
We grew up at Go Ahead Lake. Every church event in the world was at Go Ahead Lake.
That's
every
right.
picnic, we were there. Baptism, everything was at Go Ahead. He said he was out there in the water as a young pastor. He was in the water with his shorts on and playing with the kids. He said, and God spoke to him so clear and said, get out the water. He said, when he got out the water, God told him, you're not common, you are different. Wow. Stop acting like you're common.
Yes.
And for that moment on, my father never put on shorts again in front of us, in front of anybody. He never swam with us anymore. He never did any of those things. I told someone the other day, my parents, we used to rent houses for Thanksgiving and stuff like that. Him and my mother would go some days earlier because he wanted to get in the pool.
Wow.
But he wasn't going to get in the pool in front of us, not with shorts on. No, that wasn't what he was going to do. Because he took pastoring to that level. When God told him he wasn't coming, he took that as, even in front of my family, I still have to be this man.
Absolutely.
My father, and I used to bother him all the time. You always wear that collar through everything, but he always was that man. That he wasn't cutting salvation on and off. He wasn't cutting his humility on and off. That's who he was. 24 hours a day. Don't matter. Now, we had good times. I mean, he was a jokester. He loved to laugh. He loved to joke. I mean, the best time in the world is him and my mama sitting on the bench, just looking at people, just literally talking about everybody walk by. But even in that, it was a certain righteousness.
Absolutely, I understand.
About a certain integrity that he carried. And now in my life, I'm just trying to get there. I'm like, God, let me be like him. I mean. This man pastored the church for 50 years and not one negative thing.
Yeah.
In 50 years. Not one. I'm not even embellishing. No, that's just the
absolutely
truth.
Right. Yes,
that's
sir. I understand.
I mean, who does that? I mean, let's be real. Who does that? No, but that's what he was.
That's right. Authentically, that's who he was. That's right. So how then, Pastor, when we talk about even maintaining that level of stewardship in the pastoral role in front of the family.
Yes.
And so when we talk about years and decades later, we're in a new age where, pastors and I'm for it, right? Things are just changing. Let's say that, right? Yeah. But how do you maintain what you've learned, what you were taught, while still trying to be relevant, for lack of better words, not inclusive.
I understand,
but remain relevant.
It's not as hard as people think it is. It really isn't. It's not as hard as people think it is, because it's all in dealing with righteousness. It's all in dealing with holiness. Doesn't have to be boring. Holiness doesn't have to be this starch thing, this, that. My father told me he first got saved in the Church of God in Christ. He had a Jerry curl. He told me he was going to hell. He put on a colored shirt with his suit one time. He was going to hell. If women cut their hair, they going to hell. What about the women who have fall out? They going to hell too. I mean, come on, what are you doing? So what I've learned. Let me talk. So I want to bring you in. Sunday morning, church is already starting. They're doing praise and worship. I'm going out to preach. Me and my father in the office arguing. It's me, my father, my mother, and my wife, and me and my father going in.
Oh, wow.
We're going in about communion.
Oh.
We're literally going in about communion.
Oh.
Because he wants all us to put that civic collar on and put this suit on and this. And my whole mind said, don't take all that. We just gonna drink some juice and eat some bread, man. I'm not putting that stuff on.
Yeah.
And listen, he in charge. He the bishop. I'm literally just a house preacher right now. So and we're going back and forth. And he looks at me and he says, just shut up, boy. Just shut up. We got to go preach.
I was waiting for that moment.
Okay. He said, shut up. So I hushed. We prayed. We went and preached. So now it's still on my mind. I'm still doing this. And what happened? I'll never forget this. Me and my wife, we all, because on Sunday's family day. Every Sunday at church, we all went to eat. It didn't matter where we were. We all met and we all ate together. And we're sitting at the restaurant. I think we went to Gigi's that Sunday after church. Just a shameless plug. Jesus got some good food. They got the oxtail rice. The Lord is in the oxtail rice. rights they be having. God is good. So I'm sorry. I went way off track. I'm sorry. I ain't even hungry. I'm full. But
Pastor is a foodie.
I am a foodie. Y'all know me. Y'all know I love food. And me and my wife, we're sitting in the car, and this clip comes on, a reel comes on from another church. Another church, not even in Florida, out of state. And they start talking about, hey, remember communion is coming up, and we only actually want someone to wear good things, want someone to do this, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, man.
And when they do this, my heart got soft.
Yes.
I'm like,
yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do that.
Yes.
So I go into the restaurant. He's sitting down, and I sit next to him. I say, hey, Dad, let me tell you what I just heard. This. I said, yeah, maybe once a month we can do this.
It's not too much.
And we can just push the people. We let and do it as every Sunday. You can wear pretty much whatever, but this one Sunday,
one day out of the month.
That's all he was trying to teach me at that moment.
Absolutely.
Can we just honor God?
Yes.
Like this.
Yes.
And it wasn't going to be a bad thing to do it.
Yes.
And the people are going to be okay with it. And when I did that, I'm like, man. So from that conversation, it made me start listening to what he said more and trying to work through my thoughts in it, because I realized something. So a few weeks ago, let me trip you out. A few weeks ago, to honor my father for the 51st anniversary of our church, 51 years, all people's been around, I put on the robe.
Oh, for the first time?
I put on that old school Martin Luther King robe. Like
you put on that I have a dream robe.
I have a dream robe. I put that Martin. Listen. I tell them all the time, once I finish this PhD, I'm wearing that robe every Sunday. I'm earning them stripes. I'm gonna have that robe. That's right. Y'all gonna be mad with me, but I put that robe on. Well, after service, me and my wife, we stand in front and we hug people. So all these young people are coming up, teenagers, early 20s are coming up, and they're hugging me. They got on their jeans, they got their t-shirts on, they got this. So I feel uncomfortable because I believe they feel uncomfortable.
Right. Understand.
So I talk to them, I'm hugging them, I'm like dapping them up, and I'm like, yeah, I like what you got on. I'm like, that's cool. I'm like, usually I'll be kind of dressed like that. So I'm trying to go that angle with them. Hey, that's how we're blah, 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 blah. And then what they tell me, nah, Pastor, that look good. You look good, Pastor. That's what's up, Pastor. I like that. And multiple people said this. Then I realized something. My father had been trying to teach me forever. The members want to act a certain way.
Yes.
They want to dress a certain way. They want to do a certain thing.
Yes.
But they expect their pastors to be pastors.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
They expect their pastors
that's absolutely
to be pastors.
Correct.
And when I'm like, that just brought everything like full circle.
Back to full. Yes, exactly right. Wow. That's good. Now, you have been extremely vocal about your mental health journey.
Yes.
And, at one point, you started a ministry years ago, right? Okay.
Yes.
Married, two beautiful children, right? And then life.
Right. Life be life.
Life be life. And so that took you on a journey.
Yes.
Right? Can we talk a little bit about the journey? But here's what I want to harp on, because from the moment the children are born, you got a father through all of these transitions.
Yes.
You still got to be daddy.
Got to be daddy.
And so there's the mental health journey. There is the prostate cancer journey.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So the mental health journey, let's quickly take a journey there. What was that like?
Oh, wow. In the words of my daughter, especially my baby girl, you crazy, man. You crazy. It is something wrong. My daughter looked at me and probably called me crazy every single day. She called me crazy. And it's funny now, but the truth is I was. After 18 years of marriage, I was going through a divorce. And it wasn't a bad bitter divorce. It was just divorce.
Yes. Shout out to Cup.
Yes,
that's my sister.
So nothing bad, nothing bitter. Right. It was just divorce. Right. We were going through divorce. My girls, I'd always been in their life. They'd always been in my life. Now they're in the home. I put them in the home. I moved back inside the same bedroom. I grew up in. I think it was the same bed I was in. When I think the color was
Nothing
still the same. Nothing had changed. So I moved back in there, where it took me in a state of depression. I was diagnosed with clinical depression and diagnosed with ASAD, which is adult separation anxiety disorder. It's the same thing kindergartners have that first day of school when they try to hold on to their mama's leg when it's time for them to go to class. I act that same way. And it messed me up. I had no control. I didn't eat. I actually got sexy though. That actually blessed my life. I went from 262 pounds.
You got what?
I got sexy. I got 44 long, like sexy. I was bad. Pastor was bad. That's how I called first lady. Pastor was bad. I'm sorry. I went from 262 pounds to 208 pounds.
Wow.
Not because I was trying to lose weight. I didn't eat. I realized I only ate in community.
Wow.
So if I was by myself, I never ate. I went to restaurants, ordered food, and walked out and left the food on the table, never touched it.
My goodness.
My brain never told my body I was hungry.
Yes.
I was going through so much.
Yes.
I would call my daughters every 5 minutes. What y'all doing? What y'all doing? After a while, they just start saying the same thing we were doing 5 minutes ago. When you called us, we doing the same thing.
Yes.
Like, it's just been 5 minutes, Daddy. But
yes.
I was going through.
Yeah.
I was going through. I'm in the midst of writing a book right now entitled God, Family, Therapy. Because God, Family, Therapy saved my life.
Wow.
First, it was God. Why was it God? Because I put my 9mm to my head multiple times. I pulled the trigger twice. And each time I pulled the trigger, it never went off.
Wow.
And I know it's a good gun. I know it's supposed to shoot.
Wow.
It never went off. That was God. When my family realized I only ate in community, they became community for me every single day. Every single day, someone was calling me, hey, bro, you ate? Hey, you ate?
Yes.
Cousins was calling, hey, you want to go out? You want to do something?
Yes.
Because they knew if I was with them, if I was with family, I would eat.
Yes.
So family took me to eat every single day. And then I met this amazing counselor. People in church folk in Jacksonville, they knows it and they talk too much. So I actually went to counseling out of the city. My admin, shameless plug, Tanya, she found a counselor out of the city, and every Tuesday I drove out of town to go to counseling. Wow. And it was great, and it blessed my life. I remember the first day I walked inside her office, and it was a sofa. And it messed me up. I'm like, whoa, it really is a sofa. You hear that stuff. You
need to go sit on somebody's sofa.
Is a sofa. Yeah. She like, yep, sit down. I'm like, oh man. And I cried like a baby. Yeah. And my members call me Pastor Tissue Paper because I cried a minute. I cried a minute. I ain't no shame. I'm still a man too. I ain't no shame. And I cried. And through God, through my family, through therapy, it brought me back because I was in such a bad place, such a dark place. Had no desire to live, no desire to go on because I felt like my family was gone and my future was gone. During this same time, God tells me to shut down Life at the River and go back to all people. Doing all this. So now I lost my family and I've lost my church.
And Pastor, through that whole transition you just described, you still have little people that's looking up to you, calling you dad.
I still have two precious daughters who didn't ask for any of this.
Yes, sir.
Don't really understand what's going on. But every day I still have to be a father. Yes. Every day I still gotta take care of their needs, ask their questions, show them that love. Every single day.
And so when we talk about your mental health journey and separation and suicide contemplating, how then do you compartmentalize fatherhood? Is there anything in those moments, specifically for a dad that's watching, that might be suffering depression, has never said it to anybody, to their children? Maybe they're suffering deeply in silence, right? How do you compartmentalize fatherhood in the toughest moment of your life?
You do that by understanding you may not feel that you're important, are valued, are worth anything in the world, but always know to those children, you are everything.
Yes, absolutely.
To my girls, I realized I was everything. Even Oh God! Even in the worst times when I would have those breaks, and they would be with me, they were small, and they were trying to comfort Dad to make sure Dad was okay.
So they were healing you.
They were healing me.
Yeah.
They were like, Dad, it's okay, Dad. Calm down, Dad. We're good, Dad. We okay, Dad. No, Dad. Dad, don't do that, Dad. Dad, don't do that, Dad. And they were comforting me. And it showed me that it doesn't matter where you are in life as a father to those children.
You are the world.
You're the world. To my girls.
And then you get to now there is a medical diagnosis. Yes. There is another hurdle. There is another mental roadblock.
Yes.
Right? There was stage.
Listen, this is crazy. I was 45 years old. My wife, she pushes me to give these. Men get those tests. I know it's invasive. It is, but get it, save your life. I was 45 years old. And my doctor called me and said that my numbers were elevated. He said, you're 45, you don't have cancer. We're just gonna get them checked out. When got biopsy done, and the biopsy was the size of a grain of rice, like an uncooked grain of rice. That's how small the biopsy was. They took 12 of them. They found cancer in 2. Okay. 1 grain of rice, if you let me put it that way, it was cancer in 7% of it. You know how small that is? 7% of a grain of rice. The other, it was cancer in 12% of it. The doctors told me if they would have went a centimeter to the left or a centimeter to the right, they'd have told me I was cancer free.
Wow.
They'd have told me I was healthy, I was cancer free, no problem.
Wow.
That my prostate was just swollen. So we found the cancer. I never forget the day the doctor called me. And I was in my home office, and he said, we got the results back. You got prostate cancer.
My goodness.
And he was like, honestly, you're too young for it. We don't even know how you got this, but it's here. I never forget. I said, okay, doctor. I hung the phone, and I remember my father. My father, when he got diagnosed with prostate cancer, he said from the front room through the hallway to his bedroom, just in that matter of 20, 30 feet, God spoke to me and said, you shall live. And you
my God.
Die. So I sat in my office waiting for God to speak.
Yes.
Because if you spoke to my daddy, I know
surely you can speak to me. That's right.
I know you can speak to me. And at that moment, that peace came so strong. And I'm like, okay, I ain't gonna die. Okay.
That's right.
I get up, go in the bedroom. My wife is in there. I tell her, I say, hey,
we got a journey ahead of us. Yeah.
She's like, what doctor? I said, I got cancer. She lets out this cry. She's crying. I'm like, hey, it's gonna be fine. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. We're good. We're good. I called my parents and I called them, and my father was like, oh, okay, son, no, we good. I said, and he was just so nonchalant with it. Okay, son, we're good. Let's pray. And we prayed. I called other pastor, Dr. Vernon, and him and Lady Vernon prayed with me, and I knew then because I always heard my father say something. He always said when he got diagnosed with cancer, my father had quad bypass surgery.
My God.
He always said something. He always said his only prayer was, God, I'm not fit as father in my children.
Yeah.
We were grown.
Yes.
And he would always say, I'm not fit as father in my children. I can't go anywhere.
Yes.
And during that time, I looked at my 2 girls that I have. Now I have a son that came with my wife, and he's not a stepson. He's my son.
That's right.
You walk up
That's
steps.
right.
If I sleep with your real mom, I'm your real daddy. So that's just how how it works. So now, and I have him. I got to teach him how to be a man. I got to teach my daughters how to date and who to date. All these things. I'm like, okay, God, I can't die. But when God spoke that, so I never forget. Got diagnosed in end of July, beginning of August. My surgery was set up for December. I never told my children.
Wow.
I never told them. They never knew where life went on. I was coaching basketball at the time for Bishop Snyder High School. I kept coaching, kept doing these things. Thanksgiving, everyone is home. Jaden is our son. My brother is home. So I sit them down on Thanksgiving, and I say, hey, I need to talk to y'all about something. And they're like, oh, what's going on? And I said, well, Dad went to the doctor some months ago, and my oldest daughter, she looks at me, she said, you got cancer. And I look at her.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, how
Where'd
you know that?
Come from?
She like, I just feel it. But when she said it so nonchalant, so unworried.
Yeah.
And I looked, I said, yeah, Dad got cancer. And she said, oh, okay, you'll be okay.
Wow.
And I looked at her, I'm like, you should like, no, you'll be fine.
You'll be just fine. Mm-hmm.
And she believed that without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
And that conversation increased my faith even more.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, God, they know I ain't going here.
That's right.
We're not going out like this.
That's right.
And through that whole process, I mean, they were right there with me in the surgery. When I opened my eyes, I saw my wife and my kids. My wife, my kids, and my mama.
Now, let me ask you this though. Because, and I know we get in the hoopla of faith moments. Yes. I know God's going to do it, but there's also another moment sometimes that the enemy will come in, right? And he's trickery, right? He's a carrier of those thoughts. And so when those moments came and you might have thought, or was there a thought? Is this really it? Do I have to leave them prematurely? Is my work done here? We just kept feeding that faith.
No, never.
Yeah.
No, ma'am, never. Yes. I am. My daughter died when she was 9 months old. My oldest, Aja. It was about 3-4 o'clock in the morning. God stood me up out the bed. When my eyes opened, I was on my feet. Wow. And I said, God, what's wrong? God said, your daughter. Go check on your daughter. Firstborn, she was about 9 months old. She's dark skinned, little beauty. When I walked inside the room, her features had sunk in. Her skin was purple. She had been dead for a while.
My goodness.
And I began to cry. And God said, stop crying. What did I tell you? I was 13 years old. One of my favorite uncles, name was Wilbur Hosley Jr. He died. He died of a brain tumor. And when he died, I walked out the house and I walked around the corner and I told God he wasn't by nothing. I said, this man loved you. He loved you. I was 13 years old. I said, man, you ain't about nothing. I said, we read this Bible and we do this stuff, man. You heal all these people, you do this stuff. You don't do that anymore. And God spoke to me at 13 years old. God said, I have not changed. You have changed.
What did you say?
He said, if you believe me, I'll put healing in your hand.
What did you say? I'll
give you the power to raise the dead. I was 13 years old when God told me that. 13 years later, I'm in that bedroom with my daughter, and God tells me, stop crying. What did I tell you?
And you heard him just as audible.
Just as clear. And when he said that, my mind went back 13 years to what he had said.
Yes.
I grabbed my dead daughter in my arm and I'm laying my hands on her and I'm like, Aja, wake up. And I'm just calling her name and I'm praying and tears are going up. By this time, Cup hears me. She runs in there, sees her daughter dead. She lets out this wail that only a mother could let out. And I'm praying and I never forget, I grabbed and I touched her and I said, Aja, the fire of God be upon you. I said, the same fire that Elijah called down from Mount Carmel, that same consuming fire. And when I touched her, she sat up in the bed. And then I grabbed her and I'm holding her and I see this look on her face and it's just, it was crazy. And I looked at her. I said, Aja, did you see the Lord? And at 9 months old, she started waving her little hands. I said, did you see the Lord? And I'll never forget this. I didn't sleep for months. And when I was at church one day, an evangelist came to me who didn't even know what was going on. She said, God told me to tell you to go to sleep. I said, huh? Said, God said go to sleep. Well, killed your daughter before. I ain't gonna ever kill her again. You can be fine. In my mind, God has done the hardest thing he ever could have done. He brought my daughter back. So my wife tells me all the time. She said, your faith just different. She said, everybody had that faith. Your faith, no, I just believe God can do anything. So when the doctor called and said you got cancer, I'm waiting on God to tell him I'm healed. Once he said, okay, this is that deal, let's go on with life. That was my faith. So there were moments where the devil tried to come in and get me like, no, I'm good. No, that's right. I'm good. That's right. Because I believe that and I teach my church all the time that the greatest enemy of your faith is your reality. It's what's going on around you. That kills your faith. So what we have to learn to do is close our eyes to what we see and open our eyes up to what God said. And that's what I did in that instance. Yes. I looked at what God said. God said I was healed. So okay then, I'm healed. And
that's what you declared and what you stood on.
And that's what I declared, and I stood on that, and I still stand on that now.
Yes.
Every time I get those numbers, they still come back 0.
Yes.
In Jesus' name.
Yes, sir.
It's a done deal. It was a journey because the people around me were suffering. It was a journey because I'm grown.
Yes.
I'm 45, and my mother and my father went to all my doctor's appointments like I was 10 years old.
That's my mom.
I mean, I walk in. It was so funny. One time I walked inside the office, the doctor walks in. He looks at my father and he says, "You the patient?" He like, "Oh no, it's my son." I was like, "I'm sorry. They're gonna come. They're here.
My parents.
They're here."
That's absolutely right. Yeah, I get it. Wow, that's amazing. Let me go back real quick, and then we'll do one or two more, and we'll start to wrap up, because one of the strongest questions that we face among our African American community, specifically for men. I heard you say something about God, therapy, and what else did you say?
God, family therapy.
Right. Okay. God, family therapy. Let's talk about therapy and the Black man.
Oh, wow. It's not just therapy and the Black man.
Got there.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got there, because I want to go, because I've heard that question so many times, and we don't have to take a long time on it. But you'll be surprised to know how many women will say, "Why won't Black men get therapy?" We've had some male panelists before, and that's one of the first questions that they'll ask: why won't Black men get therapy? So when we talk about the Black man, the African American man, and therapy, what do you say?
First of all, I don't think it's a Black male problem. I think it's a Black problem. Number one, it's not just Black men. Is Black people in general, especially Black church people.
Because they think Jesus.
We're going to pray about everything.
We're going to pray about everything. Yeah.
No, you need to talk to someone. You need to talk. So, but in dealing with just Black men, society has labeled getting help as being weak.
Yeah.
And because society has labeled it as being weak, it stops a lot of men, especially African American men, from getting the help that they really need. They know they need help, but when they get help, the women in their lives abuse them, talk about them, call them weak, call them this. So they won't have to go through that. They just sit and suffer in silence.
Yes.
They suffer and never tell anyone they're going through, and we don't know it until they break or until they commit suicide, until something crazy or drastic just happens.
Yes.
But they won't do it because society labels them weak when they go.
Yeah.
I say to do it, you have to be strong.
I agree.
You have to be strong as a Black man. You have to be very strong to go to therapy because you know everyone's going to talk about you.
Yes.
See, but you have to get to a point where it's not about them.
Yes.
It's about your health.
Absolutely.
I got to a point where it was about my health. I want to be good for my children.
Absolutely.
If I want to be good for my children.
Absolutely.
My baby girl was calling me crazy. Like, dude, you crazy. It is something wrong with you. And she was telling the truth. I didn't want to be crazy. I didn't want to be, I want to be sane. It got to a point where they didn't even want to hang with me anymore.
Wow.
It got to a point they're like, "No, Dad, we're not coming over. We're just going to stay here with Mom."
And so that's good. Let's land there for just a minute. And so it would be fair to say that therapy can help foster relationships with your children.
Help foster therapy. Therapy is the driving force because therapy shows you your issues. Therapy shows you who you are, and it doesn't just show you who you are. It shows you ways to overcome that. Yes. So whether relationships are bad, whether it's with children, whether it's with your spouse, whether with this, it shows you who you are, and that's where we have a problem as people in general. We know everybody else's issues, but we don't know our own. And some people think therapy is about, we're going to talk about everybody else who did me wrong. No, it's going to talk about you did you wrong.
Absolutely.
So therapy showed me who I was. And it showed me the parts of me I liked, and also the parts of me that I didn't like. And it allowed me to deal with those things so I could foster a great relationship with my daughters going forward. Now I can't get rid of them. Now they drive me crazy. But I'm so happy because I went through a time where they didn't want to be bothered with me.
Yeah.
And I knew they loved me because it started out and ended with them trying to help me. But when help turned to hurt for them, they had to back away.
Yes.
So that's where therapy came in, and they were like, "Ooh, Dad, you're doing so good. Dad, you're doing good."
And then you saw the bridge coming back together.
Yeah. They would ask me, "Did you go to counseling this week? Did you go to counseling?" I'm like, "Well, dang, who are y'all? Y'all the counseling police? No, we just want to make sure you went and talked to people this week. You gotta talk to them." and it helped me.
Absolutely.
And therapy, that was the greatest choice I could have made during that time, during that season in my life. It helped.
Are you a product of continual therapy?
I am a product of continual therapy. My wife makes sure that she called. Sometimes she'll say, "We're gonna talk to somebody." I'm like, "What you trying to say? What you saying? What you saying?" We've gone through marriage therapy and marriage counseling. Even though we have a great marriage, we have a great marriage because we sit down and we talk. We go to therapy. We do this. So we do all those things, and my individual therapy. Even when my father died, I don't believe in signs. Like, I don't live my life by the horoscope. I don't do that. But the truth of the matter is, I am a Pisces. So what we do by nature is keep stuff inside.
Yes.
We bottle stuff in.
Yes.
So I didn't want to be in Walmart 10 years from now throwing canned corn down the aisle talking about my daddy died.
Yes.
Because that's it. Because it would come out like that.
That's exactly right.
And so what I did, I started therapy. I say, you know what? I know this is going to happen. I got to get in front of this. We got to hit this early. That happened to me. My uncle, my same uncle who died when I was 13 years old. I grieved him at 21.
Because you never dealt with it.
I walked inside my father's house, and my sister was playing a song, "Don't You Know That You're My Hero." That song came out in 1989, the same year he passed away. I'm 21, 22 years old now. I walk in the house, that song is playing, and I fall to the floor and start screaming and hollering.
Wow.
And they're saying, "What's wrong?" And I'm saying, "My uncle died."
Wow.
And my father is now like, "Who just died?" He's frantic, like thinking someone just know. I'm talking about what happened 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it hit me, and I didn't want that to do this now, so I started therapy. What
do you, Pastor Ardel, if you can reflect back over your life, present, and with the anticipation of a much brighter future, when it is your time to transition from labor to reward, what do you want those two beautiful girls and that boy to remember most about you?
That I was there. Whether they were good, bad, indifferent, during the good times, to the bad times, through the not, whatever it was,
you were
was
present.
always here.
Yes.
I was present.
Yes.
If they say that about me, I will be honored, because that's the same thing I said about my father. He was present.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what was going on. Bishop A.T. Jones Sr. was there.
Yes.
And I only want my kids to say, "Yeah, Dad was here."
Yeah, he was here.
He was here.
Yes, sir.
And I love them to death. All three of them. Even though they get on my nerves, all three of them. I love them, but I don't necessarily like them.
I think you got to get in line for that one. Pastor, you've been such a great company tonight. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I mean,
thank you. We could probably keep going and keep going.
I've been trying to conquer. You done told me I talk too much, so I've been trying to kind of keep it under wraps and not say too much.
You are, but I heard an alarm go off.
Yes, I think so. I don't know if it was supposed to be that loud, but it did go off. I did hear it go off.
I think she wanted us to know, hey, you're at a stopping point.
Time is up.
Thank you so much. I am honored to have you here tonight. Honored to have you here to speak and to be open and transparent, right? That is something that I think that most people will come on and they would give this good, just this good front.
No, we are who we are.
Yeah, absolutely right. And so to be able to see behind the veil and share a little bit of your story, your testimony, thank you so much. And
it's my pleasure. Thanks for the invite.
I hope that it has helped somebody. Now, I'm going to ask you to give some parting words to the fathers, since we're on Father's Day.
Yes, ma'am.
Some father, pastor, that might be, again, struggling, some depression, some health scare, a recent divorce, just trying to get through life, man. What would you tell Daddy today on Father's Day?
God bless you out there, first of all, and happy Father's Day to you. Listen, regardless of where life finds you at right now, you're still that child's father.
Yeah.
through the ups and downs of your life, they still look at you and see greatness. And what's so amazing, beloved, they don't just see greatness, but God sees greatness.
Yes.
What I love about God so much is that God doesn't ask us for a resume. He cares nothing about the past of our life, the mistakes, the ups, the downs, the journeys we have to go through. God cares nothing about that. He only cares about what we're willing to do in our future.
Amen.
Wherever life finds you at now, you might be in the midst of depression. I was there, diagnosed with clinical depression, and like my baby girl said, I was crazy, but God brought me out.
Yes, sir.
I went through counseling. I talked to someone. Don't be afraid to, if you want your life better, don't be afraid to sit down and to share what's going on. It's in those moments, beloved, that you are freed by the power of counseling and by the power of God. Listen, I rebuke the depression. I rebuke whatever you're going through, drug addiction. It doesn't matter. God sees you where you are, and He has an amazing, bright future for you. I thought my future was going. Lost my family in divorce. God told me to shut my church down. I shut my church down and went back to my father's church. I thought my life was over. What does God do? Gives me a wonderful wife who loves me, who my children love and adore. Gives me a son that I've always wanted. He takes me through and teaches me how to pastor all over again.
My goodness. And
now I'm taking over my father's ministry. Everything I thought I had lost, God gave it to me in reward. And He doesn't love me, beloved, any more than He loves you.
Yes.
He won't just bring me out and not bring you out.
Yes.
He'll bring you out too. You got to trust Him. You got to believe Him. Even in this most difficult time in your life, you still have hope. And that hope is in God and in the love that you have for your children. Happy Father's Day to you. It's going to be better. You're my brother. But and more than that, you're those children's father, and they love you for that. Be strong, knowing that God will never forsake you. You'll get through this. When life be lifing, God will always be guiding. Yeah. And you'll always have the victory. In Jesus' name.
The doors of the church is open. Will there be one?
Will there be one?
Wow, that was amazing. I pray tonight that you have been blessed by something that you've heard. What an amazing story. What an amazing story. And I'm just glad that you're here to still share it.
I'm glad I'm here too.
I'm glad that you are still here to share it.
So we didn't even talk about my truck flip 6 times. The devil been trying to kill me.
Oh.
He been trying to take me out, but God is
6 times.
6 times. In middle 95 rush hour traffic, 6 times my truck flipped. But God kept me because He's that type of God.
He's faithful.
Always.
Faithful and just.
Always.
So tell the people, this is Pastor Ardel Jones. Tell them a little bit about how they can find you on social media, the address of the church, the service times.
I'm Pastor Ardel Jones. Soon to be senior pastor, I guess. My installation's in 2 weeks. Of the All People International Church, 1993 Edgewood Avenue West, Jacksonville, Florida. You can find me on most social media platforms. I'm on the Facebook as Ardel Jones, just Ardel, last name Jones, J-O-N-E-S. I'm up on the Instagram as Pastor Ardel on Instagram, X, which is formerly Twitter, up under Pastor Ardel is there as well. So feel free to reach out. If not, reach out to my church, All People International Church. You can find me there, and it'd be a blessing just to connect. Listen, some brother, you need somebody to talk to, man, I'm here. I'm open to talk. We can meet, we can have breakfast, we can share a meal together.
Amen.
And
He's a foodie.
I'm a foodie. I love to eat. So, and to help you get through some issues in your life.
Yes.
Because like I said, God doesn't love me any more than He loves you.
What time are your service times?
My service time is we have 2 services, 9:30 a.m. in person on Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. We'll be out before the Jaguars play. We get out by 11, so we can always go tailgate on Sunday in Jesus' name.
All right.
Then on Wednesday night, we're on social media. We're on our YouTube channel and on Facebook every Wednesday at 6.
Okay.
So Wednesday at 6 on our Facebook, All People Facebook page, and on our YouTube channel, All People International Church on Wednesday night. So you can join us for any one of those services. It will bless your life. You'll come in as guests, but you'll leave as family.
I love it. I love it. Thank you all so much for joining. Listen. Pray that you take heed to what you've heard tonight. Pastor Ardel said God does not love him any more than He loves you. I pray that you rest in that love tonight. All right. Thank you all so much for joining again. Would you all give a real good God bless you to my guest tonight, Pastor Ardel Jones. We'll definitely have you back, okay?
Oh, it'll be my pleasure.
We're going to have you back. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Father's Day. Have a good night.
Happy Father's Day. Good night.
Bye.